And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Cadet First Class Club. Another edition of This Week in Army Football. We get set for what's going to be a big one coming up on Saturday. Army at number 15. Wake Forest down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Wake Forest, the defending ACC Atlantic Division champion. They won the Gator Bowl 1 year ago. So a lot to talk about as Army looks for its second victory of the season on the road coming up on Saturday night. That said, how about fresh off the practice field, a big This Week in Army Football welcome for the star of our show, and that's Jeff Monken. Jeff, welcome back to your show. A lot going on at West Point this weekend. The Thayer Award tonight, and of course a football weekend, a game on the road. A lot going on, and great to have you back here on This Week in Army Football.
Ready to talk about Army football always.
Always Army football. So Wake Forest, not much more needs to be said. This is a team which I think to some degree took the college football world by surprise 1 year ago. They were 4-5 during the 2020 COVID year, and last year exploded to 11 victories. They won the Gator Bowl, appeared in the ACC championship game, and really led by one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football, coached by someone you go back 3 decades with, Dave Clawson. And what a job they have done in Winston-Salem, and what a program you're going to face here on Saturday night.
They've got a great team, and Dave does such a good job coaching those guys. They've got an offensive system that's unique and really tough to defend, obviously, and we've watched it just evolve and develop over the last few years, and last year was just a terrific season, and they're doing it again this year. They're only lost to Clemson in double overtime, so that Sam Hartman, the quarterback, tremendous, and he's got a great supporting cast of a really good offensive line, veteran offensive line, receivers, running backs, and then defensively, they have improved so much even from a year ago, and that's a team that won 11 games. So a new scheme, a new coordinator, and they're doing a great job defending people as well.
Wake comes in 4-1 on the season, as you mentioned, Jeff. The only loss, double overtime to Clemson, coming off a victory on the road at Florida State. Jeff, how does your team feel? I know there's been some ups and downs this year, and one thing that hasn't gone, that's the fight in your team and the way they've competed. How do you and your team feel 4 games in?
I continue to be excited about our team and the way they compete. And there's been more downs, there's been ups. That's unfortunate, but it's not been because our guys haven't played as hard as they can play. Our guys care, and they got a lot of pride, and we haven't made the plays we've needed to. But I know we're capable, and our guys are confident that they're capable. So we're going to continue to improve, and we intend to go down to Winston-Salem and give them our very best shot. I think we've had a good week of practice, and we'll find out on Saturday. The guys got to make the plays.
And a team, Wake Forest, that you know well during your time here at West Point. Second straight year, you'll be facing the Demon Deacons, a high-scoring affair here at West Point 1 year ago. That was a pretty crazy game, 70-56. That's what, 126 total points scored in the game.
I think we stopped them one time in the first half on a 4th down. They stopped us twice, and that was it. And it just was literally a track meet, just up and down the field, and they made some great plays, and they made a great special teams play. We had that fake field goal, and we had been practicing that thing for weeks, and that was dialed up. It was a perfect time, and that kid made a great play, and we did everything right. He just did his job as good as anybody could have done it against that play, but that was one of the stops, and we just feel like when you're in a game like that, it's so different from the week before. We're playing at Wisconsin, and it's just a battle, back and forth defense. It's a 7-point game. It was 20-14, 6-point game, 20-14. The next week, you're playing and nobody can stop anybody. So you can't put a finger on what it is each week, but it's just sometimes the way the game goes. And maybe we'll get another track meet this year, and I hope we can stay on pace and outscore them. And if we don't, if it's a defensive battle, hopefully we'll do a better job of stopping them than they stop us.
Demon Deacons head coach Dave Clawson, which we talked about, Jeff, goes back 3 decades. You got to go out to Amherst, New York, University of Buffalo, 1992. You guys crossed paths.
So we did, and our offices were at the old campus in downtown Buffalo, right by the there's a golf course there, and I can't even remember what the name of the golf course is, but I was told that they played the U.S. Open there one time.
Interesting.
And it's the old campus, which now I think just has the nursing school, the medical school, those kinds of things. But the campus was really a lot of grad students and doctoral students. There weren't many undergrads there. So when our guys would come to practice, they'd have to take a bus from the Amherst campus down south on the road there to the main campus. We'd practice there. Our offices were on the second floor of the Huff Gym, which I think was built in about 1762. It was old and
we have the 1912 U.S. Open was played there.
There you go.
Over Cleveland Golf Course.
I knew
Well,
you'd figure it out.
Looked it up, yeah.
And but I mean, it was almost draconian, the facilities we had. But Dave, I knew then he was going to be a really great coach, really smart, Williams College grad, and he's gone on to have just a tremendous football career. And I said today, from the guys from the ACC network are doing the game, I said, you know, Dave, he's making good money now, but if he was if he just decided to go into business, he'd probably be the CEO of some Fortune 500 company, and that's just how smart he is, and how he's just a successful person, and he was going to succeed in whatever he decided to do. And unfortunately, he's the coach of Wake Forest and got him kicking everybody's butt, and we got a big challenge on our hands.
And Jeff, you've talked about it a number of times during the course of this week. What type of opportunity does the game like this present to your team?
Well, always, when we play a team from a Power 5 conference, it's a great opportunity to just make a statement about our program and for our guys to showcase this team and this academy to the college football world. And obviously where they're at as a program right now, ranked number 15 in the country, just a tremendous opportunity for our guys to be able to compete against one of the best teams in the nation, and hopefully we'll play our best. That's we've been able to play some teams like this in years past and given people a real run for their money, and I hope we can do it again Saturday. It's gonna take a great effort for us to do that, but I hope we'll get ourselves in position and see if we can find a way.
Jeff, you go back 1 week ago for your team at home against Georgia State. Tough opening half. You come out blazing in the second half. A couple of breaks here or there. The final score could have been a lot different. What can you, and I know there's a lot, you say, hey, you'd love to learn from a win rather than a loss. What could you take from that game to build on? A lot of positives, especially in the second half.
Just the fight in our guys in the second half was a positive. I felt like the first 30 minutes we kind of wasted our life for 30 minutes of our lifetimes there, because we were capable of much better. But I was proud of our team and how they responded and came out in the second half and competed and scored the first drive and stopped them, scored the second drive, stopped them, took it down to the 6-inch line, and unfortunately we didn't get it in there, and still had a chance again with the ball and as a 3-point deficit, and just couldn't find our way to scoring position, and then desperately at the end of the game, just doing everything we can to try to get the ball back, and they hit a couple plays, and the score wasn't indicative of how close that game was and what the second half looked like. But the bottom line is it's a 60-minute game, and we've got to make plays for 60 minutes, and we can't wait. And so hopefully we'll do a better job of starting the game this week, which is something we didn't do as well last week.
This week in Army football, getting you set for Army and Wake Forest coming up on Saturday night from Truist Field in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 7:30 kick time, airtime across the Army Sports Network at 5:30 p.m. with the Army Football Tailgate Show. And we're here with you until 8 o'clock on This Week in Army Football. Corey back on the wireless microphone. Now we're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, the comment section of Facebook Live. You can get involved with the questions. And Corey, hopefully we get some good ones here tonight.
Oh yeah, happy to be here. Oh, happy to be back always, and good to see you guys. Yeah, as Rich said, if you guys have questions, let's get those answered by Coach. Yeah, let's do it.
Should be a lot of fun. And
Always.
coming up next, our special guest, someone very special in the recent history of Army football. One of the great plays, defensive plays in Army football annals, going back to that 2017 Army-Navy game, and it's going to be one John Voight.
So we are so excited to have him working with our team and just being back here and being a part of the Army Football Brotherhood again. He made a great play, and the highlight of that never gets old, watching that play and the effort. It's just It embodies everything that I think this program is about, the fight and the grit and the toughness and the no-quit attitude, that black flag. And John was a team captain and just did a tremendous job in that role, as well as being a great player for us.
Captain John Voigt coming up on this week in Army football when we come back right here at the Cadet First Class Club across the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
Today, I'm a captain on the Army West Point football team. Tomorrow, I strive to lead winning teams.
Today, I study to excel in the classroom. Tomorrow, I can reach for the stars.
Today, I am leading cadets during summer training. Tomorrow, I will be ready to lead soldiers on the battlefield.
Today, I lead with character as the brigade commander. Tomorrow, my possibilities are endless.
West Point, where leaders are made.
Everybody's head is in the right place. Everybody's just hungry for that win, hungry to turn the tide, but everybody's head is in the right place. We're excited, we're ready to go, and we got a great opportunity. Coach emphasized we got a lot of football left. We still got the CIC to play for. We still got a chance to get to a bowl game, so there's a lot of football left, and we just ready to go.
We have a lot to prove this season. We have a lot to prove this Saturday, and a win against a 15-ranked team would be huge for us. So, that's what we're looking forward to. We're going to do everything in our power to do that this weekend.
Connor Fanuc and Connor Bishop, those guys are really like the leaders of the offensive line, and they have really invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, texting me at, ungodly hours of the night to make sure that I'm focused and locked in, understanding certain plays. They're checking on me in terms of, how much weight I'm gaining, the calories I'm consuming, how much film I'm watching, that kind of stuff.
Young guys are resilient, and I think they play the game, and they're excited about another opportunity to play the game. Saturday's disappointing, but it wasn't the last game of the year. They get to play again, and they're playing a number 15 team in the country, so what an opportunity for them, and so they're excited about it, and so am I.
The Cadet First Class Club this week in Army football. Broadway's back at Eisenhower Hall Theater, the Hudson Valley's premier performing arts center. Enjoy your favorite Broadway plays and musicals in the comfort and convenience of America's Theater, Eisenhower Hall. A delicious meal at Riverside Cafe prior to each show. makes for a perfect evening. Don't miss out. Tickets go on sale soon. Group and individual sales available. For updated season info and ticket sales, visit iCall.com. That's iCall.com. Back on This Week in Army Football with Black Knights head coach Jeff Monken. I'm Rich Demarco. Time now for our special guest. We always catch up with a former Army football player, and from the class of 2018, we talked about his exploits. One of the great defensive plays in recent Army football history, part of the 2017 Commander-in-Chief's Trophy team, which brought the trophy back to West Point for the first time since 1996. Now a captain in the U.S. Army, working with the Army football team. How about This Week in Army Football? Welcome, John Voight joins us on the show. Number 59. John, welcome. Great seeing you around.
No, I appreciate you having me on the show. Thanks.
So, how does it feel? What are we, 5 seasons later, right? Since that 17 season, right? Time flies. I'll tell you what. How have you been in these 5 years?
No, I've been great. So I graduated in 18 and did my time out in the Army, and fortunately I got the opportunity to come back here. Coach Monken gave me that, and I get to work with the team. I'm now on staff as Director of Player Development, and I get to, it's almost like being a player again. I get to work with the guys and you know, just be in the locker room with them, so it's awesome.
And Jeff, we've had other Director of Player Development on this show, and each brings such a different perspective and such value. Speak about John and what he's brought to that position with your team.
He's got experience as a player. He's got experience as an Army officer, a graduate, and there's just a level of respect that our guys have when these former players come back. They've been in their shoes, which I haven't, and I think they can seek John out and talk to him about things and share things with him and get advice on things that maybe they can't get from their position coach or from me. And it just makes John extremely valuable. And he does such a great job of connecting with our guys and spends time talking to them every day, works very closely with our leadership team, our leadership council, and the guys that are on that, the 14 guys that are on that council, our captains and those young men from each class. So just a great resource for our guys and for us too. There's things that our coaches and I can lean on him for, and questions I can ask him that he may have a perspective that I don't quite see the same way.
So John, your road in the Army after graduation, 2018, what road led you back here?
Yeah, so I'll start when I graduated. I had the opportunity to AI at the prep school. I was a coach there. Absolutely loved it. It was a great way for me to get back to the program, the brotherhood, and then I went out in the Army. I loved my time. I was a platoon leader, got to work on staff, do a bunch of things that I wanted to do, and I wanted to get back to West Point. I wanted to get back to the football team, and you know, luckily through a former Army football player who was stationed here, he gave me the opportunity to come back here, and here I am.
So let's go back. 2017 Army-Navy game, one of my favorite moments being a part of Army football and Army football history. You run down Malcolm Perry, who was outrunning everyone seemingly that entire season. Take me through the play, first off, and all the ground you made up to make that tackle.
All right, so
I'm sure you got a story. I'm sure you set
it
up
It
a
really is
way.
not a story. Jay Bateman, who's our defense coordinator at the time, we were big on efforts. I don't know if you remember, Coach, first 2 years of mine, we had a lot of efforts.
I remember.
And after every game, the amount of efforts, we owed an up-down. And we had a lot of efforts. So that Sunday or that Monday, we'd do a lot of up-downs. And so through our career, those efforts slowly went down. And so naturally, running after the ball, that's what we did. When the play happened, I was on the backside, like we always do, run to the ball, and Malcolm Perry was 20, 30 yards downfield. He cut back, and I had a good angle on him, and I don't know how I did it. Luckily, I dove and caught something. So.
And Jeff, I've always asked this, and when you recount the story, at the time it was great effort, but you really weren't sure if that was going to be a significant play in the course of the game or just delay Navy scoring a touchdown. But the fact is, it put the defense in position to make some plays and hold them to a field goal. John, what did you, at the time, I mean, it was a great play. What was the mindset then, still having the ball inside the 20-yard line?
Yeah, I know. It was just another down. I think they ended up going three and out and field goal, and we didn't think anything of it. I put the score, I think, at 13-7. So we're down 1 score still instead of down 2 scores. So that's all we thought at the time as a defense. So.
Jeff, you're in the thick of it, right? When you see that tackle, I'm sure you're noticing the effort, but you're saying, heck, it's now a 1st and 10 in scoring territory for Navy.
At least they didn't score because he had scored on a long run. Yes. In that game as well. So it was a great effort play, and it just gave us a chance. It gave us a chance to make a stop. And in a game like that where the weather was snowy and blustery, nothing was guaranteed. So John just he's a big swat and kind of caught his foot, and I think he tripped on his own feet and did a tumble, and fortunately we got him stopped. That was the difference in the game.
John, obviously there's the missed field goal at the end by Navy, and you win the game getting ready to hoist that trophy, and you were recruited during a time when Army football was still trying to get back to that point. What's going through your mind in that final sequence when the game ends and the most important thing you're playing for all year, beating Navy and win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, is now a reality?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think, when we first got to, Army, it was Coach Monken's first year, and we hadn't done a lot of things, so the program hasn't done a lot of things in a while, and at that point, we'd beat Navy, been to a bowl game the year before, won that bowl game. Still hadn't beat Air Force, went to Air Force, beat them 21-0 at their place.
That was some game.
Which is probably my favorite game. That was awesome. But, that's getting a CIC and bringing it home was the last thing we had to do. And, finally seeing that come true, it was just such a big weight off our shoulders. And being able to do it my senior year was, awesome, amazing.
Jeff, you looked in the eyes of those seniors. It must have been special after that one.
Fantastic. I mean, it was something that this program would strive for so many years, and we just made it a mission that we were going to get that trophy back. And for those seniors, that class of guys that had endured so much, it was a great victory and a great way to go into that bowl game, which is another great story for that season.
Oh, you look at the way that bowl game was won, right? I mean, you think of Elijah Riley at the end taking back the lateral, but really you're keeping up with a team that 31 plays for San Diego State in that game, and then finding a way to make the interception, right? The Ackerman tip. That was an enormous play in that game, John. The Ackerman tip pass to Jalen McClinton for that interception. It was you brought up the Air Force game, and I've often said that game 21-0 in 17, that might as well have been like 50-0, the way the defense played in that game. You mentioned your favorite game. I don't know if I've ever seen, and there have been some lopsided games against good teams and bowl games. I don't think I've ever seen a better defensive performance than that game at Air Force. What's your recollection and how you think back to that game?
Yeah, like I said, I think it was on our checklist. We haven't beaten Air Force and done it at their place. And I think going into the game, we had a great game plan for it. And, even before the clock started, we were set. We were going to win this game. And that's the mentality we went out with. And, defense played great. And I think I remember Ahmad rushing for some crazy number. And he's
200 plus.
I don't know if you remember, Coach, on the sideline, he's puking his guts out and ends up going and running 100 more yards. It was just I think a great game overall, and awesome win.
So 2018 graduate, Army football director of player development. What's next for John Voigt?
Now I got to figure that out. I think right now I'm just trying to enjoy the season.
As you should.
And be with the guys and the coaching staff. I've enjoyed it so much, just being around them, and I'm just going to focus on this season, and then after we'll see what happens.
It's interesting, and I want to get baseball playoff predictions from everyone, because John, as many know, his brother Luke, a Major League Baseball player, as I like to say, Luke Voigt is the brother of John Voigt, who created the biggest play in Army, football in 2017. That's how I intro it. But okay, your brother now with the Washington Nationals. I want pennant. Let's make our pennant and World Series picks right now. Jeff, you need to know the teams in the playoffs. I know you're in complete college football.
I have no idea who's
now.
In the playoffs. I have no idea who's in.
Okay, so we'll give you the American League first. Okay, so it's the Yankees, the Astros, the Guardians, the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Mariners. Who do you like in the American League? John, you go first.
I'm going first. I'm biased. I'm going to go Yankees.
Yankees. Jeff?
I hope it's the Yankees, but I like the Astros. They kind of got it going.
I'll go with the Yankees too, but I have a feeling the Astros. It's okay. National League. We have the Braves. We have the Cardinals. Braves, Cardinals, Dodgers, Padres, Mets, and Phillies.
My first.
Might as well.
I'm a St. Louis guy, born and raised, diehard Cardinals fan. So it's Cardinals all the way. Cardinals, Yankees. Cardinals are going to win.
Triple A.
Cardinals over Yankees.
Triple A team. Cardinals. I'm a Cubs fan.
Of course. So what are you going to?
I hope it's the Mets.
Mets. So you're going to have Mets and Yankees.
Wouldn't that be great to have that series right here?
Tremendous.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that one's going to be. That's I think the Phillies. The Phillies, they're back in for maybe just
Phillies, Yankees.
Yeah, how about Phillies, Yankees?
And who would win?
The Yankees.
I'm going to go Cardinals. Like John, Cardinals, Yankees, and I think the Cardinals are going to win the World Series. And I've said that before, not just saying it because we have a St. Louis native up here. But John, hey, we have the predictions. I'll write them down. We'll revisit them as the weeks go on This Week in Army Football. But great having you on the show. Love reminiscing about the past and that 17 Army-Navy game, that 2017 Army football season, one that will never be forgotten by the Army faithful. John, thanks for spending time with us here tonight. Best of luck. Look forward to seeing you on the trip.
No, I appreciate you guys having me.
Captain John Voight. He's the best. The best. Joining us here on This Week at Army Football. When we come back, your questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. And welcome back to the Cadet First Class Club. This week in Army football, brought to you by West Point Family and MWR. FMWR offers horse sporting, golfing, skiing, catering, camping, and many more activities and programs. Visit westpoint.armymwr.com for more information. Back on This Week in Army football, just after visiting with Captain John Voigt. I could talk to him I say that every time with all of our guests, but just another great representative here of West Point and Army football.
John's fantastic. We're really fortunate to have him on our staff right now.
That's great, and you can see the love and the passion for Army football. Time now for the remainder of the show for our final 28 minutes. It's your questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. Again, we're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, the comments section of Facebook Live. We'll get to as many questions as we can. Corey, on the wireless, our first question of the night.
None other than Jerry kicking us off.
Good to see you, Jerry.
Hey, Coach.
Jerry.
How you doing on the injuries this week, Coach?
Not so good, Jerry. We're beat up pretty good, so we got about 48 hours to get that right. So we're working on them, and I wish we were healthier, but that's the way it is. It's a rough game.
Thank you, Jerry, for the question. Specifically, offensive line. You're feeling getting a little healthier in that part?
A little bit. The O-line, the D-line, and the guys in the trenches, they get beat up a pretty good bit. And we've had some skill guys, as everybody's probably noticed and been watching on TV and seen the lineup change, just quarterbacks and B-backs and all those guys. So, it's just we just continue to try to get the next guy ready to go, and that's what our guys do so well. The next man up just finds a way and gets in there and competes. And so we're probably going to have to play some guys this week that hadn't played as much, but that's part of the game, and it's why we got more than 11 guys on each side of the ball. So we've got some backups that I know are capable and anxious to play, and we'll give them a chance to do it on Saturday night.
How about Hayden Reed at fullback? And he's been forced in and given the opportunity because of some injuries you've had there at fullback. He's been very impressive. Seems like each of the past couple of games a little better, more comfortable out there.
Hayden's continued to improve as the season gone along, and I think that will continue, especially being a freshman. They've got so much potential for growth, and he just continues to improve with and without the ball, and so we're excited about him. I think he's got a great future.
Next question for Coach Monken.
We've got another in live audience question, which I love this engagement tonight. So without further ado, we've got Jefferson.
Coach, I was wondering, how is Army going to defend the slow mesh at Wake Forest?
Well, that's a good question. People have a difficult time with that slow mesh, Jeff, and I like your name, Jeff Jefferson. You and I are kindred spirits there. So Jefferson, they've got a very unique scheme where they do slow mesh, and it gives them an opportunity to really see what the defense is doing. And their offensive line's amazing how they just kind of cover up gaps and keep people from being able to get back there to that quarterback. And as soon as they see somebody else kind of add to the box, they pull it and toss it down the field. So we've got to be very patient about sticking our nose in there too quick and playing the run, but not being too far away from him that if he does hand it off, we can come up and make a tackle. So we can't sit in the same defensive call the whole night. We got to do some different things, and that's what Coach Woody is so good at. He finds different ways to attack an offensive scheme, and hopefully we'll do it better this year than we did last year. Last year we didn't do a great job with it. Hopefully we'll do better on Saturday night. But there's been some really good defenses, very talented teams like Clemson and Florida State and folks like that haven't been able to slow them down this year yet. So hopefully we'll do a good job with it.
Thanks, Jefferson, for the question. So that's slow mesh, and Dean Darling, who we do the games with, who's been around Army football over 4 decades, we're talking, and he's like, Hartman's walking him up like 3 yards. Have you ever seen an RPO or a mesh run like that? I mean, he's basically tiptoeing with him while a play is going on, and it just shows how everyone is frozen, waiting to see what's going to happen.
I've never seen anything like it, and that's what makes it difficult to defend. And that quarterback is so effective in making those decisions, but delivering the ball. And he finds a soft spot. And there's times he'll throw the pass and he's 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. Nobody throws passes like that. So just really unique, very impressive. They do a great job with it, and it's a challenge.
They got this thing down to an absolute science, that RPO. Next question for Coach.
Yeah, Coach, so you're talking a lot about Wake, this weekend. Anthony John was wondering, what do you think is going to be the difference between this year and last year's matchup?
I wish I knew what I thought the difference would be. I hope that we do a better job of slowing them down and not allowing them to get in the end zone so quickly. I hope we can control the ball, control the clock. Last year we scored really quickly, a lot of points, a lot of big plays. But what that does is it gives the other team more opportunities, and not that scoring is bad. It counts the same. It's 7 points whether you score in one play or it takes you 21 plays. But just controlling the clock, and we can't have turnovers. We cannot allow them to take the ball away from us and steal a possession. Punting is okay. It changes the field position. If that's what we got to do, we do that, and then hopefully do a good job of stopping them and getting ourselves in better field position because of it. But I don't know what the difference will be. They got a lot of the same guys back, and seem to be playing even better than they were playing a year ago. So it's going to be a challenge for us Saturday night, but we're looking forward to the opportunity.
One of those players back, one of the many players back on offense, A.T. Perry, and with his size and the way he can release and big plays against Army last year, how impressive do you think he is?
He's a great player, and their receivers in general, I just think they got just a great group of skill players on that team, and that's offensively and defensively, and their defense. Look, they got the defensive lineman that's ranked as high as anybody on the defensive line in college football right now. As Pro Football Focus grades guys and looks at what they do, and he's a productive player. They got a lot of really good players. They are a well-coached team. There's also a very talented team.
Army at Wake Forest coming up on Saturday night, 7:30 kick time, 5:30 air time across the Army Sports Network with the Army Football Tailgate Show. The game also available on regional sport networks throughout the country, so check your local listings for where Army and Wake Forest will be on the television dial come Saturday night. Coming back, more of your questions on This Week in Army Football right here from the Cadet First Class Club on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
Year, new journey. We need to understand who we need to be, like who we want to be. Today's the first test. Today's the first opportunity as this team. You always kind of wonder going into the game, like how good are you going to be? And I'm certainly walking here away today saying there was a lot more good than bad. I love how we competed for 60-plus minutes. We talked about that at the start. That's the foundation of where we build on this season, and I thought that we checked all those boxes.
Restaurant and Tavern Partners, Brothers Barbecue and O'Toole's Pub. Check out the Restaurant and Tavern Partners portion of GoArmyWestPoint.com for more information. Support those who support the core. Here with Army head coach Jeff Monken until 8 o'clock, taking your questions about Army and Wake Forest, the number 15 team in the country, coming up on Saturday night from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'll tell you what, Jeff, we haven't had the questions here through the first two road games of the year. Of course, beginning the year at Coastal Carolina. Nolan Barry would always ask when he was on the microphone what the post-game food selection was going to be. So, not even post-game. It could be any time over the weekend. Any special food selections.
I am embarrassed to say that I don't know what we're going to be eating.
It's a bad answer.
But I'm pretty sure that one of those is going to be some barbecue of some kind. So I'm a huge barbecue fan, so I'm pretty confident that we'll probably have some barbecue, which will be great.
Sounds like a plan. So, Nolan, I know you're watching. I know you listen to each and every show. We did ask for this Wake Forest game. There will be barbecue at some point during the trip. Back to your questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. And I know, Corey, a lot coming in through Facebook Live.
Oh, yeah. So this one is from Bob Rolfing. He said, Coach, what did the defense focus on between Georgia State and Wake this week?
We're facing a different offense. And so really the preparation goes immediately to what we're going to be facing on Saturday with Sam Hartman and that whole crew on offense at Wake Forest. And it's such a unique system. We spent a lot of time on the unique things that they do. There's carryover, and there is from week to week, really with the exception of the academy games where we're facing a true triple option team. There's carryover each week from one opponent to the other because a lot of the concepts and a lot of the blocking schemes are similar, but obviously watching Wake Forest and what they do with their run game really different. So we spent a lot of time doing that and trying to get our guys just acclimated to that slow mesh and being patient and seeing that thing play out and like I said, it's a challenge, but our guys have worked really hard, including today, and we'll be back on the practice field tomorrow before we get on the airplane and get one last look at it.
Jeff, why haven't more teams embraced this slow mesh?
I think it's new. It's not something that's been around for a long time. I think you'll see more teams do it. Stanford is doing it, So which makes sense. I mean, it's something different. It's in a different conference. Nobody else sees it. And they've been getting some good offensive production out of it. But obviously, it's something that if you're going to transition to this offense, it's new. And so if you're having any sort of success and you're an established offense, to incorporate this means a change. And that may mean some setbacks to start off with. And maybe people are hesitant to do that, but I'm really impressed with the job they do. Warren Regario, the offensive coordinator, just a brilliant guy, obviously, and has figured out this offense and how to make it work, and they do a great job.
Next question for Coach.
All right, Coach, this one is from Allie Deering. She said, Coach, Army threw for 11 passing yards against Georgia State and then 300 against UTSA. Do you think this was due to the difference in personnel on the field or just responding to different teams' defenses?
I think it's what needed to be done in those games. And we threw 7 passes on Saturday. We had a play action over the middle that their linebacker knocked down. We had a deep crossing route that could have gone for a touchdown. We overthrew it. Just a missed throw. They batted down a hitch route that we've been completing. I mean, they did a good job of defending some of those plays. So had we hit some of those pass plays, we probably had more yards. But what we do is try to have a run game that's going to be as successful as possible and use the pass when people are overplaying the run game. That's just been the way we've done it for many, many years. And really that was the case against UTSA. And we hit some play action passes, and they were big ones, and they counted. They counted for some touchdowns, which was great. But we're always going to make our living running the ball, but we're going to have to throw it. And we probably won't go through Saturday night not being able to throw a pass. I think we'll probably have to throw some. We'll see.
Thank you for the question. Game plan wise, and you mentioned it with the slow mesh. There's so many things that, like you said, you give yourself to that offense. That's not something where a team can just have a part of it, and it's not like you could run it if you wanted to in special situations. You really have to give yourself to that kind of offense.
I think it's just a philosophy that they don't slow mesh on everything. That's the thing about it, is they have plenty of plays where they're called run plays and they just hand the ball off, whether they're running the zone or running a power, run the tackle wrap, and they've got plays where they just throw the ball. It's a 3-step drop. He catches the ball and the ball's gone, or he catches the ball and it plays out like a 5-step drop, a little deeper throw down the field. They've got all those things. The slow mesh is just part of it. That part is so unique that it forces defenses to play a certain way, and because defenses are playing that way, then it opens up opportunities with the other things that they do, or that are more traditional, whatever traditional offense is these days, more traditional in scheme.
He's Jeff Monken. I'm Rich Demarco here on This Week in Army Football. When we come back, one more round of questions for the Army head coach as we get set for Army and Wake Forest here at the Cadet First Class Club, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
To blow, hammer pull back, gonna let it go, losing our minds, got no control.
one more time on This Week in Army Football. Black Knights on the road at number 15, Wake Forest, coming up on Saturday night, 7:30 kick time, 5:30 airtime across the Army Sports Network. Jeff, just a few precious minutes left. I'm sure the Cadets will be storming in here soon, just a little after 8 o'clock when the Thayer Award dinner wraps up, and it'll be a lot of fun Saturday night.
It will be, and just excited for the opportunity for our players, and they're looking forward to it, and to play a great team like this, number 15 team in the country. Don't get an opportunity to do that often, and though it'll be a challenge, it's a lot of fun. It's what playing football at this level is all about. It's why our guys came to school here, is to have a chance to play in games like this against teams like this. So we're going to make the most of it.
Time for a couple more questions for Jeff Monken. Corey,
all right, Coach. This one is from Ken Killingsworth. He said, Coach, I know you have two-year captain Marquis Broughton and Connor Bishop, and he sees a lot of ownership and accountability on the field and sideline. Could you share some more about this year's captains and their approach to leading the team?
I appreciate Ken asking, and he was here with us, so he knows those guys well. He is outstanding, and those guys are just tremendous. Marquell Broughton is just, he's one of the most dynamic young men I've ever been around, an emotional leader, always talking to the guys, and he is not shy about telling our team what needs to be done, and he doesn't worry about hurting somebody's feelings or how he'll be viewed. He knows that leadership is important, and that somebody's got to provide that leadership, and he's courageous and willing to do that. And Connor is just a solid guy. He's earned the respect of our entire team. That offensive line, he's been a leader in that offensive line unit for a couple of years, and our team just has seen him develop as a leader for the entire group, and they work so well together. They're different personalities, and they got different leadership qualities and skills, but they just, in their own way, do a really good job, not only with the guys on the team, but also the other leaders. And we've got other leaders on our team that help those guys and spread the message, and they're not afraid to talk to them about what needs to be done. So just very fortunate to have those two guys as captains.
How important has their leader? I'm sure it's important all the time, but over these past couple of weeks, your team's so upbeat at practice, and the message is just so positive.
Well, they've got to be, and they lead that. It can't just come from the coaches, and frankly, it doesn't come from the coaches. It comes from within the team. There's got to be leaders among the ranks, and those guys provide that leadership, along with guys like Kobina Bonsu and Tyler and Leo Lowen, and there's guys throughout our program that do that in every class, and this is the best leadership school in the world, so we ought to have good leaders out there with us.
Last question, we have 30 seconds for Coach.
All right, ending on a fluff question. These are my favorite. This one is from Kieran Stack. He said, how do you stay entertained on flights to away games? Is it more film? Do you listen to podcasts, music?
I usually sleep or read or watch film, one of those three. And sometimes I just feel like I got to take a nap. I'm exhausted. We spend a lot of time in the film room, and this is this job is not one that is a 9-to-5 job. So a couple extra winks every once in a while is good for us.
Great way to end it, Corey. Great job, Jeff. Good luck Saturday night.
Let's go get them.
And we'll see you tomorrow. This broadcast, an exclusive presentation of Army West Point Sports Properties, the property of Learfield, under the broadcasting rights granted by the United States Military Academy at West Point. This broadcast is copyrighted. Any rebroadcast or reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of the Academy at Army West Point Sports Properties. The general manager of Army West Point Sports Properties is Steve Tucker. We'd like to thank Peter and Jimmy on site. Tony back at the studio. Ryan Panny keeping us on our video coverage, live streams on Facebook Live, YouTube, all of that for folks to get involved with the show. We'd like to thank our special guest captain, John Voigt, and Corey, of course, on the wireless microphone. For Army head coach Jeff Monken, I'm Rich DeMarco. It's Army at Wake Forest coming up on Saturday night, 7:30 kick time, 5:30 airtime across the Army Sports Network. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.